Black Coffee said on an interview with... No.
Black Coffee is not the perfect husband I am. You understand? So when you're comparing and you're thinking like he's done all the worst things.
I'm not saying, maybe you are thinking there's no perfect husband than my husband, followed by my dad.
That's fine.
Do you understand? So don't think I'm saying
that's fine. I'm a better husband than your husband.
Hey, I'm still with my husband. My husband's still with me. We're still in the same.
And so.
And then when?
My wife.
Does you or your business need cybersecurity solutions? Well, look no further. RAM Cybersecurity Solutions has got you. RAM Cyber Solutions is on the defense side of cybersecurity. They provide tools and solutions to protect any business against any ransomware and attacks. They also provide real-time alerts to clients in terms of any suspected attacks. From mailing security, networks, privilege access, data loss, and backup. You can contact RAM Cyber Solutions on the contact details displayed.
Welcome to O Narrative Podcast by myself, Promise Magunyane. This podcast is about marriage and family dynamics. If you'd like to be a guest on my podcast, please do write to us on the email address that is popping on the screen. Do not forget to put your name, not your name. Do not forget to put your number, preferably your WhatsApp number, so that we can contact you after vetting your story. And I've realized that most of you guys are starting to subscribe, and I really, really appreciate it. But still, if you have not subscribed, please take this moment to click that black subscribe button so that I can get my coins right through YouTube, okay? Doesn't cost
I just subscribed.
Did you subscribe?
I just subscribed today. On my way, yeah.
Did you go through my...
I went through the thumbnails.
Okay. Which caught your eye?
Yeah, okay. So, yes, I knew the subject.
Or just one thing that you saw on any comment.
The ones... My husband exposed my activities with my boyfriend. I think but I was scrolling really fast because I was really, as you saw, I was on a phone call.
Yeah,
I was doing some crisis intervention.
I think it's because that person, you know her. That my husband. Kind of, what is the thumbnail?
I don't know. I didn't see. Thumbnail is this small little thing. So I was just scrolling through.
It seems
there was
right.
One.
It Sims.
Sims?
Yes.
Yeah, I know Sims.
Yes, that's you.
Oh, yes.
Seen, yes.
Okay, so maybe that's why. Or maybe that's why it popped up.
Oh, yes, because...
Because obviously I searched own narrative.
Yeah.
And then I saw one thing. I didn't know what it was. And then I saw oh no, there's a whole playlist of things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, guys, the person I'm with already has jumped in. He's talking. So we are right in it. Lavida Nota. Is that your government name?
No. Why?
I don't know. What's your name? Because
Nsamolo. That's what I introduced myself to everyone.
Are you in Nsamulo?
Yeah.
It's the first time I hear of that name.
Yeah.
That's your government name?
Yeah, it's on Google.
Hey, Google Nota, guys. So you are Nsamulo and your surname?
Baloy.
Baloy is the same.
Baloy.
I know it. Baloy.
Yeah.
Not Baloy.
No.
What's the difference?
Baloy is...
Muloy.
Yeah.
Witchcraft.
Baloy is a surname. Yeah.
Nota, you're not going to be political today. You are just going to answer my questions. I've
never had a reputation of not answering questions.
Okay, you're welcome, Nota.
I'm always very direct.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself or you are like, people know me.
I that's the thing. I hate introducing myself.
Why?
Because I just feel like now I have to give myself an adequate introduction or I have to lie.
Yeah.
So if I have to lie, now I have to be no, I'm just a regular guy. I was born in Parktown at Florence Nightingale Hospital on the 20th of March, 1990. I live in Four Ways, grew up there, originally lived in Soweto, in Deep Kloof, Zone 2, Funduzi Street. Yeah.
That's who you are. And what do you do? Did you matriculate?
Yes.
I meant to say after matriculating.
I dropped out 3 times. I dropped out at UJ doing entrepreneurship management. Then I dropped out at Vega doing brand building and management.
Yeah.
I think that's BBM. And then I dropped out at IMM doing marketing management.
Is there any reason, now looking back?
Yeah, I was too busy working.
Okay.
Yeah, I started working when I was already in primary school. So like, I was studying for my parents. Yeah, but I was working, and then the work got in the way of my studies.
What were you doing?
Where?
What were you working? What was your job?
Making music as a record producer, yeah.
And looking back, you still think that's the best decision for you to have dropped out?
Of course, yeah.
You don't think education is important? What do you think about education?
My sister's got a PhD and 2 master's degrees.
Oh,
Yeah.
but that is not you. What do you think
So
about
it's
that?
still my dad's school fees. Still our family wealth. That knowledge contributes to who? The Balois.
100%.
So whether it's me or my sister that's getting, the work done on our father's behalf because it's his sperm, it doesn't matter. My accomplishments, I've got projects that have won 12 SAMA awards to my name. Yeah, I'm very accomplished. I'm only 33 years old right now. I turn 34 very soon.
Yeah.
But, there's nothing that I haven't done. I've got the 2 best-selling songs in South African music history.
Yes, not
The best-selling hip-hop album in South African music history. Almost on 500,000 albums sold. You know what I mean? I've traveled, I've done this thing, you know what I mean, for many, many years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Collaborated with some Grammy-nominated, Grammy Award-winning people, there's nothing I haven't done. I produced a SAMA Award-winning album for my wife. You know what I mean? In 10 days.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
Now you're just putting in your wife there, and obviously...
No, I did.
Yeah.
She didn't have a SAMA until I made it happen.
Until you made it happen.
Yeah, because I thought to myself, when she has to choose a guy, she could choose a billionaire. The billionaire could give her all the money in the world. But, he doesn't have the talent to make good music. So, that makes someone like me irreplaceable.
Do you think you're irreplaceable?
No, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's like,
Is it
where are you
rocket
ever going to
science?
find a nigga who's got 12 SAMAs to his name? You won't. There's only one, me. You understand? In the world. You understand? So, like...
Is that how you soothe yourself to sleep? Uguti, no, my wife will never find somebody like me. I'm irreplaceable.
It's got nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
But it's got to do with sometimes when I'm feeling frustrated with my work that I'm currently doing.
Yeah.
And then I forget what I've done and I've accomplished in my
Yeah.
life. Then I need to remind myself. So, like, yeah, that's what I use that for. Sometimes I'm sitting there, I'm thinking... Like, damn it, I'm being frustrated. I'm waiting for payments. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And then I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm walking outside. And I'm like, you forget, like, who you are. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, how do you forget who you are? You know what I mean? So, like, yeah. So, I mean, that was just a proud accomplishment because, it was like she told me when we met that that's one of her goals. She wants to win a SAMA. And I said, fine, I'll get it for you. I'll make sure that you do that. And I did it first attempt.
I love that, Nota.
So, yeah. So, that's it. And also when I decide to do something, I do it.
Yeah.
I'm very determined. So when I told my parents that I'm doing this thing, this music thing, my goal was to be the best that has ever done it. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to do it and be successful at it. No, I'm going to do it so that I am the example for anyone else that does it after me to say they want to do it like me. You understand? So that's it. That's what my father demands of me anyway.
Yeah.
Is that I've got that level of excellence. So, yeah, I guess I'm very fortunate that I got exposed at a very young age. My mother liked things.
Yeah.
So
What do you mean your mother likes things?
Like someone who likes things. She liked going to see things. She liked going to theater. She liked going to concerts. She liked doing things. Like one of my fondest memories of my mom is like my dad screaming at my mom for like an hour on the way from Germiston Lake back home. Like,
Did he go and pick her up?
no,
Or
he
they
was
went
there.
there together?
We were all today. We were all there. We were at Germiston Lake, right? And so like Brenda Fassie was about to perform. So my mom's like, no, let's go to the front. I'm like, no, but daddy's gonna shout. He said we mustn't leave. She's like, hey, no, you're not every day you get to see Brenda Fassie perform. Went to the front. Obviously, she performed for like an hour, but we were there probably for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So my dad's like, livid, he's been looking for us or whatever. Yeah, and then Brenda Fassie died a couple months later. So, yeah.
And your mom got to see her perform?
No, I had already met Brenda Fassie. Like the first time I met Brenda Fassie was the first time I went to Cape Town, 1999. We were going to Robben Island for the millennium. Like Nelson Mandela had all the kids lighting candles and stuff like that. This is back in the day. And
So
Cape
you
Town had
went
just
to Cape
reopened
Town?
because like 2 years before that or a year before that, they had like a terrorist attack. Planet Hollywood got bombed. Yeah, this was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Then we met Brenda Fuss at the airport in Cape Town as we were landing. And then she was drinking Lion Lager, I remember, right outside the airport in
Yeah.
Cape Town. And it was back when Cape Town, the airport outside was open. It had like those white shades that looked like bus stop shades. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was back in the old Cape
Old
Town. This is
days.
1999, yeah.
Yeah.
So then we go over there and then she kisses us, you know, she kisses me and my little brother. And then my little brother comes back and says, "Her kisses taste like daddy."
It's the alcohol.
It's the beer.
Oh no.
Her kisses taste like daddy.
And you know, kids, they just say it
Well,
exactly the way
like,
it is.
I was 9 years old, he was 7.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You speak about your childhood memories. It obviously you grew up soft.
No.
Why? What do you
We
mean?
grew up, like my parents were renting a 1-bedroom RDP house from my dad's older sister or cousin, his girl cousin,
Okay.
his older sister. So they were renting. So we started out there.
Yeah.
My dad owned a construction company that was fortunate to get a lot of work in Soweto, especially after 1985, when they started giving out loans in townships for people to start home improvement. So if you see like houses being extended in all the townships around 1985, the government started giving out loans
Okay.
to people in the township, you know, because the working people, they could get certain loans that had low interest rates. So my dad benefited a lot from that because he practically cornered that market, you know.
Yeah.
And then when democracy came, obviously the ANC came, and then, you know, politics got a little bit more complicated because it became about, you know, your proximity to the ANC, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, you know, it became about how well you do tenders, and now also big international companies start competing. So if you were like a big construction or medium-sized construction company that's based in Soweto, you know what I mean? You've got like a brick supplier, Kenny Sipai. He's one of the most famous Soweto brick suppliers. That's one of my dad's close friends. You know what I mean? I grew up maybe a year younger or two than his son, Simpiwe Sipai, who was a golfer
Yeah.
at a certain point in time. And when you're building and you're not competing and it's within your community, it's okay for business. But now these big companies come in. You were selling kotas, but now there's McDonald's next door.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
They swallow your business up.
And that's exactly what happened. So we didn't really grow up soft, but fortunately my mother was working for Eskom.
Okay.
And she got a subsidy for the home loan. So they got the home loan, 30,000 Rand at the time, 1991. When it was approved, they got the land near Fourways in a suburb called Blobosrand.
Yeah.
But in a nice position in that suburb. Like, you got a nice view. You can see the Leonardo. You can see Fourways Mall. You can see Monte Cassino. We've got the best view in the whole entire neighborhood.
Nice.
So my dad luckily picked that property well. And then because of that location, we're close to the Dome, Northgate, and there'd be concerts at the Dome the whole entire time. So I was already starting to make music. And what me and my friends did to start raising money is that we started throwing events. So there's a venue in between my house and the Dome at the place in North Riding called Northlands Deco Park. So, you know, they say it's all about your location. Like, the thing that determines the future of your children is the neighborhood where they grow up.
Yes.
So my mother said, my son is too curious, he's too inquisitive, he's too intelligent to grow up in this Soweto environment. He's
Yeah.
going to get himself into trouble.
Yeah.
And he's going to be frustrated. So I'm going to take him out of this environment. You know what I mean? Because I don't want my son to grow up here. It was okay when it was just my sister, you know. But when my mother had sons, she was like, no ways.
They're
The
out of
Lokshin
the
is going to
hood.
destroy. The Lokshin is designed to destroy boys. It's to make them criminals, to make them, you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
how it is designed
Yeah.
to do. Because at the end of the day, the boys, their destiny in the location, in its construct, right, is that they're going to work outside the house, in the garden.
Okay.
So the males become the Negroes, the slaves in the plantation, and the females
Ew.
become the house Negroes.
Oh my God.
So then there's a disparity, because these people are supposed to be in a community and they're supposed to be working with one another, right? But now, because the females are now sheltered, they're safe.
Yeah.
Ubas can have them inside the house without thinking that this gaffer is going to strangle me to death in the middle of the night or rape my wife or whatever, you know what I mean? They get certain privileges and they start viewing each other differently because of how far they are apart socially because of the constructs that are created. So my mother wanted to extricate me from that environment altogether.
Yeah.
And that fortunately landed me where I was. And
in 4 ways.
because of that location, I had friends who had studios, who had access, all the black elite were in that neighborhood. Brenda Fassi lived in our neighborhood. So I used to see Bongani Fassi at the skate park, at the 4-way skate park, all the time. You know what I mean? He's a little bit older than me. So I'd see them and my sister.
Yeah.
So they were peers with my sister. They'd go to the same schools, whatever. You know what I mean? Another thing, my sister went to NSA. My sister was a model. My sister was a TV presenter. My sister acted on Soul City, season 3 with Sister Bettina. So like I already had a celebrity inside the household. So even when I did grow up and meet people who are famous or celebrities, I didn't see them. So I could have conversations with them and I could be serious. I could be like, hey, this is what I do. This is what I can deliver. And the eventing thing then got me into prominence because then I started booking artists, hip-hop artists, throwing parties, booking your Sugar Smaxes, your JRs, your De Elias, your Pro Kids, etc., etc. The list is endless. That got me into the game, but also on the side, I was like trying to sell them beats. You know what I mean? But then I didn't have time to make beats because I actually wanted to write and record the music myself. But because I grew up in 4 ways, I didn't have the kasi lingo to be convincing.
I'm sure.
You understand what I'm saying? And then when I looked at the dynamics, because I mean the demographics, because I'm a person who studies things. I looked at the demographics of South Africa, I was like, no kid from Sandton is going to make it.
Yeah.
Like properly. Like there was an anomaly when AKA made it. None of us believed that it could be possible. And then I guess he opened up the door for the Nasty C's, etc., etc. But I always knew that could never last. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's going to be a wave and then it passes.
It dies down.
Yeah. So then I focused on then getting myself into the environment in the township and then assisting the talents that I found there that were my peers and structuring the business together as partnerships. And that's how I was able to develop from there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I got given an opportunity, fortunately, by Bada Bing. I got given an opportunity by Ghetto Raf. I got given an opportunity by Native Rhythms.
Yeah.
So Sipos Tole, Sugar Smacks, and Lance Stir were, I guess, my first 3 mentors in the game. And if you look at Sipos Tole, he's the guy that signed Squatter Camp to Gallo. He signed Tandiswa Mazwai. He signed Simpiwe Dana. You know what I mean? So that's Zabalaza album, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's someone who mentors me. So everything that you've heard him touch is something that he's taught me, you know what I mean, personally.
And that was like
Sugar
strong
Smacks,
music back in the day.
you know what I mean? Sugar Smacks, he's the founding member of Squatter Camp. It was because of his father's connections at Zako Music and everything else that the whole entire group was able to benefit. Him being a TV star already, he acted on Scoot's Nice. He acted with Joe Mafela. So you got a guy who's a child star with Joe Mafela, went to NSA with my sister as well, knows my sister.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Connections.
So it's again,
Yeah.
close thing. So even when I went there, I was still in high school in my school uniform.
Yeah.
But for my parents to be like, where is your little brother going? No, he's going to this other. Yeah, I went to school with him.
Yes.
I know.
So you
where
would
he is.
always.
I'm safe. Yeah. And so my sister would also come to the studio. She'd pick me up at Jazzworks. You know what I mean?
How old is your sister? What is your
6 years older than me.
older than you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Is she the one that has masters and PhDs and stuff?
she's got 2 masters and PhD, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
At a very young age.
yeah, you mentioned, Nota, that you are 34 this year.
Yeah, I'm turning 34
And
on the 20th of
then-
March.
You're already a divorcee.
No, not divorced. I'm married. I'm
To
just
who?
separated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you marry this woman?
This woman, my wife.
Yes, this lovely, beautiful
No,
woman.
Don't compliment. You don't know her. I'm the one married to her. Let me be the one to give the compliments.
Oh, sorry, Nota. Sorry.
I'm just saying,
Yes.
you've never met someone. You can't really be so
Yeah.
sure who they are. When did we get married? We
Yes.
got married in 2020, I think. 2020, 26th of July.
During
Is
COVID.
when we did our lobola, and then we got officially legally married on the 10th of May, 2021.
And already you guys are separated.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, man. TikTok.
Tok?
Yeah.
Please elaborate.
I mean, yeah. So obviously, when I met her and I decided to marry her, we had similar values, believe in family, everything. What she projected is a strong love and an affinity for her father. And in previous relationships that I'd always found that I seem to be a magnet for girls who've got daddy issues. Just because I've got such a secure relationship with my dad and everything else, so like they gravitate towards me because they can see that. You know what I mean? Like maybe you hang out with a girl and she just sees that, how this guy talks to his dad all the time, and they seem to be so cool, and you know what I mean. So
they gravitate towards
now
you.
all of a sudden, they wanna suck some of that energy out of you. You know what I mean? And sometimes they don't. The thing is that they're coming to take it from you. They're not coming to bring anything. So that's the thing that makes it negative. Maybe sometimes they haven't learned how to offer anything as well.
But don't you think with that, Nota, that a woman gravitate towards you because you are secured in your relationship with your dad? Don't you think also them it happens subconsciously? It's just like something that they long. That it's not like, okay, I'm seeing Notes talking to his dad and I love that and I want that, and then I come to you and now we're in a relationship. Maybe it's a subconscious. It's a It's a psychological thing that they just.
It's not that. It's because.
Do you think they intentionally?
They see a father figure in me. So basically, from my relationship with my dad and just the fact that he gives me mentorship and the fact that they can see that he's a positive fatherly role model, they think that obviously that's in me and they see that in me. And as a woman, like your genes are telling you that, I need to find a father for my children. Either way. So you're genetically wired to gravitate towards men who you see could be fathers of children. That's why there's so many women who commit paternity fraud. Like intrinsically, she might know that this guy is not the father, but I'm going to pin the child on him because I know that he would be a good father.
That happens a lot.
That happens almost all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, when she has to think, who could the father be? The most likely is the one who she wants it to be.
Oh my God. And that I was talking with Pinwell when we were talking about that. I was talking with Pinwell that I've heard him on my podcast.
Yeah.
And we're
I saw that. I saw that as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I was like, one day we're going to sit down and speak about DNAs being done, even in marriages, not just boyfriend and girlfriend.
No, it should be done immediately on conception.
Immediately, when the child comes, DNAs needs to...
In fact, not only that, maintenance should go to the father.
What do you mean?
Yes. Everything should go to the father. Why is everything in the system of how our society built structured to make sure that the father can provide for his children? But when it comes to child support, now the father must be made not to provide for the children.
Okay, wait, please break that down.
So you cannot get child support unless the father's out of the house.
Okay, so you're saying my husband must give me grant for my children while I'm with him.
He must receive the grant and he must buy the things and he must be, otherwise then he doesn't receive the grant. If he doesn't have the kids with him, he doesn't see the kids, if he doesn't take care of the kids, he doesn't get anything.
Oh, you are talking about this grant, this child grant.
Everything, child support, it needs to be on the fathers. Because why? We've done a DNA test, we know you're the father.
Yeah.
So now we make sure you don't run away.
I hear that.
You don't want to marry the girl?
Yeah.
It's fine, you'll receive the grant.
You have to take...
It's either one or the other. It's either you marry the girl or you receive the grant. Done.
Sure, so that's another thing. Anyway.
No, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, what would the incentive be? Like, why would you pick out your own child? Because the money's going to come to you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
So you think it's a way that fathers are going to be fathers?
Why should we not incentivize fatherhood? We're complaining about the destructive effects of the lack of fatherhood. We're complaining about it, but we're not incentivizing it. Why is we doing that? Why are we incentivizing single motherhood? The amount of resources that we give to women and girls for single motherhood are ridiculous, insane, as if we're pushing it on them. And also, at the same time, we've got these destructive messages. Every time you come home, after you buy Spa, you have to tell your kids that their dad is an abuser. Because the packets say gender-based violence, abuse, women are being abused. When you drive to the shopping center with your kids in the back of the car, they've got a big billboard outside there. It says, black man, brown man, dark man, danger, bad. That's an abuser.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When daddy is now screaming at the rugby and everything else, and then mommy's like, what's going on? And then the kids are like, scared, hey, is daddy abusing mommy?
Yeah.
That's what they spoke about in LO. The kids are confused. No, daddy's screaming at the rugby.
Yeah.
Okay, daddy, please don't scream.
Don't scream at mommy.
Yes, daddy, don't scream at mommy.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying?
I
So
hear
now
you.
you're indoctrinating the
Yeah,
children.
I hear that.
And you're creating that. And then what are you doing to the women? You're telling them that for them, life has got no consequences. They can scream, they can do whatever, because the only ones that are being policed are the men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As in, like, women's knee-jerk reaction now is like, oh no, she's only submissive because he makes her submissive, he shows up. So basically, other than him showing up, you're an asshole. Okay, cool. Now we know you're an asshole. So women are happy with being assholes. So we must just know that you guys are bad people. Okay, cool. Sharp. You know what I mean? There's things like women that feel like, yeah, men always say women are crazy, but you drive us crazy. So you are a child, you're a 5-year-old, you're a toddler, you're a 2-year-old actually. You cannot control your emotions and everything else, but you still want to vote.
Yeah.
You still want to have rights. You know, understand what I'm saying? You still want to be able to sign contracts. You still want to have credit cards, banks, and everything else, but you don't want to take responsibility. And there's no responsibility at the same time that you demand these rights. And these rights you have to fight for.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? When you go onto the road, Skontir, that's tar road. That man had to make that. A man's hands, a real human being.
Had to make
You understand? Had to make that tar road that you're driving on. You understand? When you order Mr. D, the Mr. D drives on the tar road with the same motorcycle,
Yeah.
the same fuel. The guy has to stand in an ocean rig, dig in an ocean rig while waves are crashing on him. One of the most deadliest jobs in the world, one of the least paying jobs in the world, one of the jobs with the least women. And it's not because they don't offer the job to women. It's that women don't want to die at work. You know what I mean? And that's the fuel that gets into that Mr. D, that comes in. And the men that play a role in every single asset of your life, even to switching on the light, even to having the plate, the ceramic that you eat your food on.
Yeah.
Once you've ordered that Mr. D, so many men have played a role, but it's very easy now when you've got money and you can put a shield or you can put technology between you and the interaction with those men, that you can feel like men are not necessary in society.
Yeah.
And that's what TikTok is doing to women, because that's the content that you see being rewarded all over TikTok. And that's why TikTok.
So that's okay. That's why you're saying TikTok was the downfall of your marriage.
Well, I wouldn't call it of the marriage, because I mean, like, I'm still married, and when I got married, I said I'm married, and that's
Forever.
it. You know, like my wife and I said we're getting married, right? So there's no divorce. We don't believe in divorce and anything else. So even the things that she's doing now, they are inconsistent with the vows that we made with each other. So I just ignore them. Yeah.
So now is your hope that, not your hope, are you just like, you will come back? Is that where you are now?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, right now, I'm just continuing with what I need to do, because I need to do work. I need to be able to ensure that I can provide for my family.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Your family, meaning who? Your wife?
Myself.
Yeah.
I'm my family. I'm Baloy.
Okay.
She's Baloy as well. You understand? But like, I'm the provider. So whether she's here or not, I still have to provide.
Yeah.
So that's it. I need to focus on that and doing the work, and that's it. As for her state of mind and where she is, it gets a little bit difficult for me, because I mean, if she was a nobody, she wasn't a celebrity or anything of the sort, I'd intervene, I'd go in, I'd call the police, I'd have her put in an institution and all that stuff. That stuff has happened to me, and I didn't want to do it to her, but I would do that. But now, the things that she can now
What
use
stuff
social
has
media,
happened to you?
like being sectioned, like Section 33, sign a Section 33 form to say you're a danger to yourself or you're a potential danger to yourself. So those are things that I could do. But at the same time, then, you know, the way in which she'd retaliate, then the media would get involved, then a fan base would get involved, and then other people, external people. She has 0 friends. Like, there's no one that I know that is my wife's friend. So I know that anyone that's around her is either someone who's getting paid, you know, or just there for the check.
Did you get her out of? Did you? Let me.
So be misandrist. So ask the question in a way that makes me have to deny that I am some sort of perpetrator of some sort of abuse.
Wait.
Okay, cool.
Did you?
Did I?
No.
Did I separate her from her friends? No, I found her with no
Yes.
friends. I don't have friends either. So when she had no friends, I was like, perfect.
Why I'm asking that is because when she was on, I think it was on Kaya FM, she said she later realized that she was in a narcissistic a marriage, you know.
Yeah,
and then
I know. She said that's next to someone who's dealing with mental health issues, whose agenda was to basically paint some form of abuse, or you are being abused emotionally. And you see when the presenter does all those things, and you ask yourself, when the presenter is the one that's putting these words in the mouth of the person that's being interviewed.
Do you think that they were
It is.
leading the
It's a coercion.
conversation for
Why
her?
do you think Danelle is no longer on Kai FM?
Why do you think she's no longer on KFM?
Because of things like that. Because of things like that. Because she will go interview my wife. You understand? She doesn't know who are my friends up at Kai FM upstairs. You understand? And then try to use my wife to slander me in the public, damage my livelihood, try to make me look like some sort of abuser and all of these things.
Yeah.
And I've never abused her.
Maybe emotionally?
Ever. Never. Abused who?
Your wife?
No, why would you even say that? Why would you even assume that? No, but I'm just saying, why would you even say that? Because I'm a man. Don't you think that's abusing me? So already, you've painted me as a victim. Already at Spa, they put on the plastic bag, I'm a gender-based perpetrator. Already on the billboard. So I'm a victim everywhere. And you do that to me. And then when I walk outside, right, and I'm trying to get to my Uber, and then you'll drive next to me, and then you'll lock your door to say I'm a criminal. I've done nothing to you. I've never met you. You don't know my name. Just because I'm a black man, that's how you treat me. Do you understand what I'm up against? And then I still have to provide for my wife. And then I still have to show up for her. And when she wants to win awards and do albums and do any of those things, when they talk to her, interview about accolades, they don't ask her, so what role did your husband play in everything that you are celebrating today? And you never hear them ask her anything that you could say that's positive. What did he teach you?
That's
what
why
did
I
he do?
brought you
How
here.
was he supportive? I lost. I spent $250,000.
How
on
much
my
is
wife.
that in rent?
I don't know. You can calculate it. Times it by 19. I don't know how much it is. Know that I gave up $30,000 so that she could get her master's back from her old record label. And the owner of it is around here. I visit him a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an old bully. You know what I mean? He's like a mentor to me now. So that gave her whatever. It cost $20,000 to do her album. Gave her a bursary to go study an MBA at Columbia University in the United States. $150,000. Went to New York. Found the apartment, which is walking distance from Columbia University, checked it out. So, okay, fine.
And
It's
you
already
found it-
secured.
you find it that-
Nicely. Nicely, it's already there. You know what I mean? However much it costs. You know what I mean? That costs me however many thousands of dollars to be able to do that. Paying for maintaining our lifestyle, maintaining our life. You know, we work in the entertainment industry. We're in a pandemic. Everything is shut down. You understand? She was not earning an income for 2 years. She was a housewife.
Yeah.
You know, going through her own thing where she had been able to support herself her entire life. For the first time in her life, she wasn't able to support herself. And then at the first moment when I was like, okay, fine, now you need to step back into who you are being, supporting her, not trying to financially abuse her or anything, doing the exact opposite. You know, she then allowed her mind to get poisoned. I mean, TikTok is one of the things. Number two, I'd blame my mother-in-law.
Okay, her mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my mother-in-law would have this thing where she'd call my wife and then they'd have conversations in another room.
Why?
Like at first, like she'd call my wife. I don't know why.
Okay.
It just started at a weird time. Like, you know, at first the conversation would start, we'd be in bed together, she'd be having a conversation, cool. And all of a sudden, no, she'd be like, oh no, are you by yourself? Okay, cool. She'd say that, okay, no, then my wife would go. And then all of a sudden, how? Every single time the mother calls, she calls my wife by herself. Then I started hearing conversations that my mother-in-law was having with my wife coming to me. Like, oh, my mother said she saw this.
What
Hey,
is
my mother
that?
says, like, oh, my mother saw some article where they're saying this. Oh, she said, oh, you said you and I had a fight. You know, there was a time I did podcast and chill with Mac G, right? And then, like, I was talking about an argument I was having with my wife, you know, where she just, like, literally does what she always does. I'll disagree with you. Like, love, can we please use a coaster here, you know, because, you know, this is wood.
Yeah.
And then if we don't, my love, okay, it's fine. I'll get a coaster. Why? Because she just starts crying. I just said, can we please use a coaster here? You just start crying. Okay, fine. So I find that abusive. It's like, okay, I can't even talk to you about anything. you just start crying.
Okay,
So we're
ever...
having this argument. No,
Yeah.
I'm explaining the story.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So we're having this argument. Now my mother is coming in. She's hysterical. I'm like, yeah, ma, it's a family vacation. I booked the whole entire family in Langaban. You know what I mean? My mom, my dad, my wife, everybody. You know, it's a family vacation.
Yeah.
You know, things she never did when she was a child, but I did when I was a child. Like I told you about us going to Cape Town. So I was introducing her into our family culture, which is going on vacations all the time, everywhere. You know what I mean? It's like our 5th or 4th vacation by that time. So we're having this thing, and I'm like, yes, I understand, fine, but she doesn't need to be crying and hysterical. And the reason why she was crying is because she left the stove on, right? And it's not a gas stove. And then she put glass on the hot plate of the stove. Glass, like a glass salad bowl dish, the lid of the salad bowl. And I'm sitting at the table counter, and then my nephew's playing, coloring in or something behind me.
Yeah.
And the glass shattered. And my nephew was just so lucky that he was sitting right behind me, because the glass hit me in the chest.
Oh, no.
And then it went around him. But it's like small little piece of glass, like not really small, but like little chunks. It could have gone into his eye and everything. And then she just started crying. I was like, but why would you just start crying? Why wouldn't you say sorry, acknowledge that, you know what I mean? So that was a real trauma response. And at first, you know, because our relationship before we even got married wasn't so long, I didn't pay no mind to any of those red flags about, you know, her triggers and her traumas.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to deal with it at that point in time, but we dealt with it. We had a meeting about it. We sat down with our parents. We sat there the next morning. So the next couple of weeks, I talk about it because I was asked on a podcast, yeah, do you guys ever fight? And I was like, yeah, explaining a fight.
Yeah.
The fact that my mother-in-law she didn't call me. She called my wife and then said, no, your husband should never speak to you about you, or don't open the door to such things. Now people think that you don't know how to use a stove. So now my wife felt like she's embarrassed to her mother. She's embarrassed to the world. She don't know how to use it. And for me, it's such an inconsequential thing. So even when she says it to me, I'm like, really? Are you really mad about something like that? What I'm not knowing is that basically my mother-in-law is working on breaking up my marriage, because what she sees is that her cash cow, her celebrity pop star daughter, is now gone and now contributing to this family. And now she's no longer here for her. You know, she's saying things about she wants to be financially responsible. She's paying back the debt of things that her mother borrowed her, like her mother would borrow her money for things. She's starting to pay back the debt. She's starting to pay back her old unpaid school fees and everything else, because I was trying to make sure that my wife is in a great financial position. Personally, she's out of debt and everything else.
Yeah.
Even if I'm in debt, it's fine, but at least let my wife be out of water. So because now I'm a man, I'll make a plan. Yeah, I'll make a plan. You know what I mean? I'll swim. You know what I mean? I'll look cool above the surface, but underwater I'm kicking like hell. So cool. And I'm not seeing it, and over, and it's happening again. Then my father-in-law calls at some point in time. You know, and he's like, hey, you know, she's saying, and now, hey, I've also dealt with some of these problems. Now they were telling me I need to go for therapy, and I refuse this thing of therapy. As a family, we don't need therapists and whatever. So now my wife had been forcing me to therapy. I'd even gone to therapy. I'd gone to 3 different therapists that, you know, she didn't approve of because she thought they were favoring me and whatever. But she's forcing me into therapy, but she's the one that needs it, actually. And we're having this conversation. And then I get off the phone with my father-in-law. I'm like, okay, no, everything is cool. No. She then has a call with her mother. Mother's like, oh, no, now they agree with each other. So before what happened is that her mother called. She's like, no, I'm getting a divorce. I'm divorcing your father. In fact, we've separated now. So they separated for like 6 months. They tried it, and then they got back together.
Who's that?
My parents-in-law.
They divorced and then they got back.
They separated. They didn't divorce. They were thinking about it. But, I mean, who is she going to find a husband at 50-something? She's living in New Zealand now. They're originally from Zim. So it's a white country or Maori country. She's a black woman in her 50s. It's very difficult to find a boyfriend at that stage in time. You know what I mean? And you're young. You've had 5 kids already. So, I mean, you're old. You've had 5 kids. You've got a husband who you've known all your life. You know what I mean? So for both of them, it wasn't practical. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I never really thought much of that separation, because I was like, whatever, they'll get back together.
Yeah.
For me, I'm 30-something years old. You know, there's women throwing themselves at me. Whatever, it's a different situation.
Yeah.
Altogether. It's not the same thing. But for her, she's like, oh, we'll try what my parents did because it seems to be working for them. It doesn't seem to be working for them. It didn't seem to work. But what I could see is that, and I kept telling my wife this, is that your mother's got no respect for your dad. Like, she disrespects him, and the reason why she disrespects him is because in 2008, the Zimbabwean economy crashed, and then your father was unable to provide for your family because the money in his pocket shrank on his walk to go and buy bread. So he could afford the bread when he left his house. By the time he got to the shop, he couldn't. And that was the end of everything. And that was the end of the respect. And then from that respect, all of a sudden, because of the economic situation, your dad is a qualified teacher, one of the best teachers in Zimbabwe, was even flown to Hawaii on a teacher exchange program, is very well known. You know what I mean?
This giant is now like very small,
Depressed.
nothing.
And your mother saw your father at his lowest. And instead of building him up, she tore him down in front of his children. I would watch, observe when they'd go on calls, group calls.
Yeah.
And it would be the mother and all the siblings. And the mother would just be saying the worst things I've ever heard about the father. And it only took until once my wife was being interviewed, whether it was Radio 2000 or something, someone called, said, I'm a big fan of your music. Your father was my teacher.
Oh.
What a great man.
Oh.
He taught us girls. He gave us manners. He gave us respect. You know what I mean? He taught us how to be women.
Yeah.
Your father gave us so much. And I could hear in her voice, I wasn't watching, but I was listening. I could hear in my voice, she was
Shaking.
angry. She was upset that someone changed the narrative about her father.
Oh.
Because when she came home, I was like, I've never, ever heard you utter such things about your father. I was so shocked and surprised. Then she started opening up, telling me about, my dad did at some point. He was at some point. And then what happened? No, the economy. And I'm like, every single time you talk to what happened to your father, you talk about how the economy crashed and you blame him. Was your father supposed to go and, talk to Mugabe personally and say, okay, fine, the rest of Zimbabwe is suffering, spare us?
Spare my marriage, spare my family.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So the mother poisoned each of her children. The youngest brother, you know what I mean? Her younger brother is not the last born. Is the second last born. So she's got a younger sister, and then there's another sister that comes after that, and then there's the brother, and then there's the final last sister,
But not, sorry, you see, I hear everything that you're saying, right? But what I've realized is that as young people, when we're looking at older people, we're thinking that we can do better. We're thinking like how you are explaining your in-laws' marriage. It's like, I can do better. I know better. But I think experience is the best teacher.
No.
You were just
Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Okay. Same thing happened to my father. That same thing that happened, financial crash in 2008. I told you about my dad losing out on tenders when the big companies came in. Same thing happened to my father. My mother didn't turn her back on him. My mother's the one that got that bond at her job. She was there to support my father. My mother and my father might have their problems and everything else, but those two people stick together. I've never seen my mother make us disrespect my father. She might complain. She does complain. But when she complains about my father, your father's too soft. Your father allows people to abuse him. Your father allows people to take advantage of him. All of those things, I've always thought, yes, but those are virtuous things.
Yeah.
You might say those things negatively, but I always looked at my mother as like, you're the wife that complains, you're nagging.
Yeah.
Daddy's doing his best. And what I see is an exemplary man. Because when I look at my father, I look at a good man. I look at a man that I would never hear an utterance from anyone negative being said about my father and believe it to be true. It can never be.
I hear you.
You understand what I'm saying? It can never be. Whatever it can be said that is negative about my father, not that man.
Would you say that now your wife is a generational thing? Because when you're explaining you and your wife's marriage and you're explaining her and her
Parents.
Yes,
It's an economic thing, not generational. I told you, it's the economic thing. What happens is that the father is then unable to provide. My father, even though he was suffered, even though he had to go to jail, you know what I mean, or whatever, and spend some time in prison and his business was crashed and everything else, he fought back. I saw my father in that depression. I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
You understand? Maybe 18 years old. I drove my family to the Eastern Cape. The day my dad came out of prison, he was being held for a couple of days, and then he was released on Christmas Eve. Some tender thing.
Okay.
It had to do with tenders, and then that's why he got out of tenders, and some ministers threw him under the bus. But he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And he'd never been charged of any crime or anything else. You know what I mean? The whole entire thing was thrown out.
Okay.
But it had to do with the Lenasia housing scandal.
Okay.
Back in 2007, 8, 9. So I drove to the Eastern Cape, and I was quiet the whole entire time. Me and my dad didn't speak the whole entire time, and I was driving really fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I drove to Queenstown in maybe 6 or 7 hours, you know, which is actually really, really fast. It's like ridiculous. Usually my dad would slow down. This time he didn't slow. And I saw him, and I could see he was at his lowest. This guy was just in prison the day before. You understand? It's Christmas Eve. We're going for Christmas holiday. We're trying to act as if nothing's happening. But I'm growing to become a man.
Yeah.
And I can see, okay, this is affecting him as a man.
Yeah.
And then he was just quiet the whole entire time. And then when New Year's came, he was just back at it.
Yeah.
Guy was going to work. He had no work to go to. Nothing to do.
He just went out.
Went out. At the time that he's supposed to go to work, he goes out. He doesn't matter, continued his routine. And he showed up, and I watched him show up for himself. And I watched him not give up on himself.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the same thing happened with my father-in-law, but he did it in a country which was even further down economically, is Zimbabwe. So then he had to move to New Zealand. So he goes from being the top teacher to being a farm laborer.
Yeah.
And now his wife also has to be a laborer. So you can go from being a teacher, your wife can work as a teacher or work a nice job, or your wife can be a stay-at-home wife because you're making enough, you know what I mean? So she goes to being a farm laborer as well to support the family and everything else. And that just took its toll on their marriage, their family. It tore them apart. And then my sister-in-law then was suffering from bipolar, or was still suffering from bipolar, and goes in and out of an institution as well. So already I'm like, damn it. Whatever it is, because my wife is the older sister, so she's the firstborn, and her sister that's suffering
with bipolar
is. So I knew that at any point in time, she could have manic episodes. And towards the end, she started having like these episodes where she wouldn't sleep all night, you know. And I'm a guy who I'll occasionally smoke weed. Yeah. So I'll smoke weed with my wife. She doesn't really smoke, you know what I mean? But anytime I smoke with her, she wouldn't sleep the whole night. She'd just stay up. And I'm like,
your
damn,
wife.
Yeah. So I'm you know what? No, I'm not smoking anymore. And don't smoke with me. You know what I mean? So there was a time she went to studio. I remember she was having so much fun, you know what I mean? She went to studio with another artist, and then she smoked. And I was like, but I told you don't smoke when I'm not there. You know what I mean? And what I'd never told her is that, the reason why you don't smoke when I'm not there or anything else is that you have manic episodes. You start seeing colors and stuff like that, you know.
Your wife?
Yeah.
Okay.
You cannot do that. Who knows what might happen to you? You might endanger yourself. You know what I mean? You do it around me. We're here.
You're home.
I only do it at home anyway. I don't do it in public either way. So I'd only do it at home. And by law, you should only be doing it at home. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be doing it at Mike's kitchen or something. So I'm just saying. so you know, I observed that, and she did that, and there was my wife, Gugu, and then there was her persona, who she's being treated as by other people everywhere else. And then she gets used to being treated like that. So she doesn't get used to people challenging her.
Yeah.
At all. At all. I was the first person to tell my wife that, her fart smells. Seriously. She once
obviously she's farting in front of her husband.
In the car. No, she farted in the car. And I was like, hold on. Did you just fart? She's like, oh my God, you can smell it. I was like, yes, of course I can smell it. It's like, oh my God, I thought my fart doesn't smell. I was like, what? I was like, what type of person doesn't smell? She's like, no one's ever told me my fart smells. I was like, what? No one's ever told you your fart smells. That is crazy. And that just shows you that in her life, she recorded an album while she was at school. She pressed it. She went back to school. The album went gold. She comes out of school. She's winning Metro FM awards.
Yeah.
She's never lived like a real life, had to have a real job, had to be treated you know what I mean? She's a pretty girl as well. So that as well, pretty girls always get compliments. They don't get the real experience that other people get. And for her, it was a shock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for me, it was a big red flag. It's like, my goodness, if you believe, that's a little bit of delusion.
I hear.
Could it be possibly normal? I mean, you've never gone to an interview and said, hey, you know what? My fart doesn't smell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not something that you are so sure of that you are telling everybody, but it's something that you're sure of. So, you know what I mean? So all of those things, you couple them together with the fact that also through knowing her history and knowing our history, and knowing my history and my mother's history as well, she was raised by her grandmother. My mother was raised by her grandmother, her uncles, and everything else. Children who are not raised by their parents have attachment issues. I know that for sure. Because they don't get, this is my parent, this is my mom.
Yeah.
My mom is
My
here.
dad.
This is my mom's things. This is my, you understand? This is my love.
Yeah.
You understand? This love is for me. You understand? It's not just some generic love for all the children of the world, you know, because children are cute. No. And they don't get that. And that gives them issues. So I saw the same sort of tendencies, you know, with her, like the crying thing. I saw that with my mom when she'd get into arguments with my dad. She'd like go overboard and then become a victim even when she's in the wrong. Like she'd max out my dad's credit card and then she's the one who's crying. And he's like, I'm over indebted. I can't pay salaries. You're spending the credit card. You're hiding the kids' clothes in the cupboards. The kids have to come out like thieves in the night every couple of months and then have to surprise me with these new clothes. And I don't know how we bought them. And then when I check my credit card statements, I see, oh, damn it, I've been swiping.
When you know all that about your wife,
Your mother.
About your mother, how she is being raised, being brought up by the grandmother.
Being brought up as an orphan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then your wife on the other side, being brought up by the grandmother.
Yeah.
They had like similar
I know that.
issues.
And also
But
my
why
sister
did
and my
you
wife
not-
are the same star sign, so they're both cancers.
Oh, okay.
and
So
they've got
why
similar
did you
personalities.
not treat your wife as that?
I did.
That, you know what, this is my egg.
I did.
This egg is just going to break even if I just...
I did. But it's impossible to, you know, treat an egg like this. Real things will happen. There are some real situations.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So it was what it was. I couldn't lie. You understand? Like this whole thing, happy wife, happy life, and lying. I couldn't kill myself. I could have committed suicide to make her happy. You understand what I'm saying? I could have done that.
You said on one
that's a-
interview
that's a-
that
that's a
your wife
situation-
wanted to kill you. Something like that, I think.
No.
Was it not you?
No.
That... Was it not you?
No.
Okay.
No.
All
But
right. Why-
she watched cops abusing me, and she reveled in that. She like, you know, she was like, yeah. Because
When she said
obviously-
you were coming back from the concert.
Which concert? Oh, her concert.
Her concert.
Oh yes, the cops.
Is it
oh
those
yes, so
cops?
No, you see, as we were coming in here, you were busy getting stuff from your back of your car, whatever. So the cops are searching the back of the boot. My wife's got her bags. You changed. You know, her underwear is inside there and everything else. The cops want to search her bags. It's almost midnight. It's almost curfew, lockdown. We're on William Nickel. Why are we out in the streets? You've checked the license. You've checked everything. You've checked the bags. We're sober. Why must you do this? Why must you abuse your power like this? Why must you search through my wife's underwear? That's what I'm objecting to. So I grabbed my license and I got into the car and the cops started assaulting me. You know what I mean? Like physically. So I pushed them off me.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And then my wife then started now wrestling me. So now I'm fighting a cop who's a man and I still have to be gentle enough not to hurt my wife who's now holding me.
Yeah.
And the fact that she can physically hold me while I'm fighting this cop, she's not helping me. She's making matters worse and she's also making me look crazy instead of just sitting down in the car. Her photographer is with us. He's recording the whole entire thing because he sees me being assaulted and he sees, oh, I need to get evidence of this.
Yeah.
And he sees what happens. And the first thing he says, yo, I've got evidence of this when I sit down the car. My wife fights with me, calls my sister. The next day, my sister comes in. It's an intervention. I need to go for anger management. So I go for anger management. I do whatever they tell me to do. Anger management says, yo, there's nothing wrong with this guy. I go for therapy. The therapy says, nothing wrong with this guy. Every single time, there's something wrong with the therapist. So, you know, my wife is someone who is either got some issues, right, that she needs to deal with mentally, that she needs therapy for or whatever, she needs assistance with.
And you don't.
And I don't, but she's projecting that on me.
Are you not projecting that on her as well?
Well, I said, why don't you go for therapy? I pay exorbitant amounts of money for Discovery Medical Aid so you can go as much as you want. You understand what I'm saying?
You know, the
You can go
problem
once a
I
week.
find with black men, now I'm for black men, right?
Yeah.
I'm for black men. I come out of like a mom
I'm a
and
black
a dad.
man who went to school as the only black guy. So yeah,
Privileges.
So no, it's not privileges. I'm just saying. So when you talk
Yeah.
about black men culture, and
Okay.
you're talking to me, and I might not relate to what you're talking to because,
Okay.
you know,
All right. So what I'm saying is that you included in the black men that I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm for black men. I'm for,
Okay.
as a wife who's been married for 6 years, I still I am for black men. I know my husband can be down, can be up, I'm just for that. And it's simply because I've seen my mom and my dad.
Yes.
I'm coming out of a marriage of my mom and my dad for 40 years or however much years
Same,
it
my
is.
parents also celebrated their 40th anniversary.
Yeah. So I
last year,
understand the value
in
of
November.
family. I understand the value of my dad. And that's why I understand the value of my husband, especially now that I've got kids. You know?
Exactly.
However, I feel that black men, they don't want to. It's almost as if we are like this. We are men. We are black men. We want submission. We want this. We want this. But they don't almost want to just check things around that. Okay, maybe let me just check in therapy. Like seriously, genuinely, let me just check in this. But even when you go to
hold on,
therapy,
but I'm just saying,
you are just going with that mentality. All right, I've got no
since I was 4
problem.
years old, hold on. Wait.
You see,
relax.
that's
I'm
a
an
black
exception.
Man. That's just you being a black man.
Don't tell me about being a black man. That's what I'm trying to tell you is I've been going to therapy since I was 4. It's 4 years old. 4 years old, consistently, all the time. Doing everything. Doing cognitive behavioral therapy. Hold on, wait. Obviously, the results show. Okay, think about it like this.
Being a black man,
I'm a black man, right? But think about my cognitive. Just think about this, dog.
Yeah.
Not even black coffee can get his wife a summer. I'm just saying, just like seriously, not even
black coffee's wife.
No.
No.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about me.
Okay.
I'm talking about what I can do. Do you understand what I'm saying? As in, like, the mental work that I've done. Imagine to work at that level. Imagine the pressure. I've got more summers than black coffee. Relax. So I understand you're trying to compare right now. Do you understand? You understand? I've got Grammy Award winners in my signings. Artists that I've signed that have won Grammys. I signed.
Yeah.
With my signature is the reason why they're superstars today.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? He has never done that. I'm on another level. I'm 33 years old.
Are you saying you are on higher level than
and
black
anybody?
coffee?
Yes, anybody in music ever. Like how? Dog, how?
I'm telling
you about outselling Brenda Fassie. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm telling you that I've got the 2 best-selling songs in South African music history. Number 1 and 2. Number 1 and 2. You understand what I'm saying? If I die, you can't get the number 1 and 2 in the room.
I hear that, Nota.
Like, you need to understand, you can have black coffee in the room. You can have DJ Tira in the room. You can have all of them in the room right now. All of us together. You still don't have number 1 and 2 without me. Do you understand? That's a different level of achievement, a different level of accomplishment. That's the reason why an artist who's worked with greats like Huma Segela would see a young man who's 1 year older than her and think that this guy can provide for me and be a husband. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not, my wife is not some 21-year-old naive, wet behind the ears girl. She's a year younger than me.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So, again, also, I don't, deal with younger women. The only time I've actually, in my life now, entertained women who are much younger than me is only quite recently that I know that, okay, fine. I can speak to women who, obviously, I don't have to, be worried that now I'm compromising my marriage because, I can't talk to anyone. You must remember, I'm in the music business. I work with artists, female artists every single time. I need to make sure that my wife is number 1. The fact that I'm there next to her means that she's number 1. Every girl in the game knows that. What do you think they're doing when they go to their sangoma? They're saying whatever needs to happen for that girl to lose that number 1 position, I want it to happen.
And whether they're saying, take the position.
Even if it has to mean costing her marriage or whatever it takes for her to not be mentally in the position to actually understand her blessing, to understand that her and her husband have got an empire, a multi-million rand empire that she's shitting on. Like right now, she killed her own career.
How is she doing now?
I mean, terribly. She's not on the up and up. You don't hear her songs on radio like you used to hear them. You know what I mean? She's not bragging about going number 1 because her husband could make a phone call and say, my wife, number 1 this week or else.
Nota, what you're saying is very important. Not even talking about just you or your situation. The value of having a man in your life. From a dad to having a husband, it's very important. And that's what I always...
officer.
Yes, it's very
fireman.
important. Do you understand? Just my husband's existence in my life, it makes my life so much easy.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
And so much more worthwhile because you've got someone who now you can say this big beast, this big grizzly bear
Yeah.
is here to serve me.
Yeah.
This big monster, you understand, will terrorize anyone who touches me.
Yeah.
Who comes near me.
No, that's a flex.
Do you understand? And it's a
that's
flex. And my wife
is.
still has that flex. No one says anything about her because they know that her husband is crazy. He will set the world on fire.
For her. Hold off, Nota. Taking you back, you said when you brought in Black Coffee in the mix, you said Black Coffee did not get his wife. I don't know if they are ex-wife now.
You couldn't get a Sama,
For
or a SEFTA or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for the wife. But then there are other things that he set his wife up, obviously, but not like publicly, like you have set your wife up.
I don't want to talk about him. Let me put my situation in. I told you, her masters, her first music, the music that she recorded, she didn't own that. I made sure that the guy who owned the record company, he was paid handsomely.
Yeah.
Right? Then I spoke to my wife and I said, listen, I think you can go and talk to your label owner and make an offer for him. This was when the Taylor Swift thing was happening, when Taylor Swift was fighting. I said, baby, don't be like Taylor Swift. I know you're a big Taylor Swift fan. When I go and approach them, make an offer formally.
Yeah.
She doesn't know that I've already spoken to that guy.
And
by the time she gets there, he's like, no, I want 215,000 or whatever. He wanted $20,000 or whatever the amount would be, because I already gave him 30,000.
Yeah.
So now he's got $50,000. You understand? He doesn't know that the husband actually came in here, paid more money than you are even offering me, made sure that the deal is done. We're just doing this so that you can get the business experience, so that you can understand how this business negotiation works and everything else. So those are the types of things. When I was leaving my work, I was supposed to get a big severance package. I said, okay, instead of you giving me the severance package, I want you to sponsor my wife's NGO, and I want you to make sure that she's got a bursary, and that also she can give a bursary to someone else for the value of $150,000 to go study at an Ivy League school in the United States of America. I wanted to position her because I was like, your artistry career is going to come to an end at a point in time, and I want you to be a mogul. I don't want you to end up like Beyonce, where you're singing to your 40s, 50s. Now you have to change genres. Now you have to keep up with all these other new bitches that are coming in the game. I want you to be sitting at the executive office, and then I want you to say, yes, young girl, here's your crown. Go out there. I want you to give opportunities to other women, because what I found is that women get into positions where they feel like now all they have is competition. Everyone's trying to take their spot, and they can't elevate to a point where they can give opportunities to other people, and they end up being envied. And then you get this boss bitch attitude where she ends up replicating the traits of the masculine energy that used to dominate these higher offices.
110%. And when you speak about that, Nota, and I'm going to go back, because obviously this is just your interview, and you've been speaking, I don't know, for 45 minutes, and I've pretty much spoken for 15 minutes. But
fans like that. They like it when you guys keep quiet and listen to the story.
It is 100%. They always say the interviewer is talking more. I love that. Yeah. But Nota, when just before I said black men, you guys don't want to, like, you don't want to bend. Do you understand? It's like, it's just this. I'm this, and that's it. I'll give you an example. Now you're talking about
that.
Wait. You're talking about setting up your wife and then doing this, doing that, doing that. Are you checking
setting her
in?
up?
Yes. Are you checking in with her that my wife, is this what you want at this point of your life?
We're drawing vision boards.
No, wait. Let me land.
But it's fine. I'll skate.
Yes. So, Black Coffee said on an interview with... No.
Black Coffee is not the perfect husband. I am. You understand? So when you're comparing and you're thinking like he's done all the worst things.
I'm not saying... Maybe you are thinking there's no perfect husband than my husband, followed by my dad.
That's fine.
Do you understand? So don't think I'm saying...
That's fine. I'm a better husband than your husband.
Hey! I'm still with my husband. My husband is still with me. We're still in the same...
And
then when...
My wife can't appreciate me because she wasn't raised by her mother.
That means there's a problem with you, and my husband is still in his home with his children, with his wife.
But let me tell you something.
So you are not a better husband than my husband.
If you were doing what my wife is doing, would your husband still be there? Yeah, exactly. Next question. No, it's fine. Next
No, wait, not we ran out of time as well. I was still lending, daughter. I was saying all those things that you're doing for your wife, ne?
Yeah.
Have you asked your wife, or this is what you want? Black Coffee said on Kaya FM recently.
Yes, I saw that thing. Yes.
No, wait for me.
But I just want to tell you.
No. He said, when he's looking back at his marriage, he's always wanted this big, humongous things for his family, for his wife. But he never just asked, my wife, is this what you want for yourself?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
And then when he comes with a private jet, for example, and he's like, my wife, ta-da! And the wife is like, oh my God.
Okay.
Actually, I just want you to be home.
Watch your neck while you
tonight.
land. Have a safe landing. Now, you understand what I'm saying? Have a safe landing. All I'm saying is this. This is my wife's vision board. My wife said she wanted a summer. Wait, my wife said she wanted a summer.
Okay, I hear you.
And I took it personally. I didn't say, my wife, I'm going to get you a summer. I went and got it.
Yeah.
And then she celebrated. And then I acted surprised. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My wife, I came back from New York 19 December 2019. I come back from New York. I'm sick at that point in time. My wife is late to pick me up at the airport, as she always was. Because, I was never late. I was always like an hour or 30 minutes early. She'd find me waiting at the airport. She'd find me fighting with cops because hey, why are you hitting here? I'm waiting for my wife. I'm there an hour early. I don't care what happens. What if the plane lands an hour early and I'm not there? And then my wife is now looking for me and now she has to turn her head all the time. Now her neck is strained on the way home. No. I will not allow that. What a
husband.
You understand what I'm saying? So she comes, picks me up, whatever. I'm sick, I'm ill. I'm like, yo, something is going on. I don't know what's going on. I was staying in Chinatown and Lower East Side in New York.
Yeah.
There's this virus that's going around. You know what I mean? I came back home. I was supposed to stay a little bit longer. I came back home early because of this virus that was going around. I was going to extend my stay in New York. Cool. And then I started doing the research and I was like, yo, there's a pandemic that's coming. On the 10th of January, after we did our thing, I booked a 10-day stay in Langa, not in Langaban, in Strand. Booked a villa, booked a band, musicians, producers, and everything else. Said, we're doing an album. You need to finish this album. By the end of this month, we need to have a packaged album. We need to have an album out by February. 28 February, we had an album out. Songs in the Key of Love. We're going to make an album about love. The narrative that's going out there in the world is that relationships are bad. You know what I mean? We're going to change that narrative because that's the narrative that we're seeing on TikTok.
Yeah.
So after we drop that album, after we come into the season of love, where does she go back to? She goes back to TikTok because that's where all the new artists are popping up. Amapiano is saying we're in lockdown. And what does she see? The content that goes there. She's trying to fit in. She goes, she plays a guitar, she does lives. She's actually playing an instrument live. She gets 5,000 views. Someone just does this with their eyes. Gets 500,000 views.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the depression happen. My wife starts doing performances on Instagram Lives. I start doing things on Instagram Live. You know what I mean? Start making content and trying to branch out of my thing. I get 10,000 views. You understand?
Yeah.
So that came with a form of depression that was seeping in. I watched it happen to her.
Okay.
And not that I didn't try to excrete her from her. But when it came to her plans, I was an amplifier. I was saying, what is your plan, my love?
Yeah.
Give me any idea you've got.
Yeah.
Any idea, whether she wanted to do coding, whether she wanted to try new things, she wanted to do painting, we'd go to P&A, we'll buy all the equipment.
So you supported
next week she
his
forgets
vision.
about this thing. No, next week she forgets. I'm telling you, because people who are either on the spectrum of either borderline personality, bipolar, and any of those things, or if they've got it within their family,
sometimes
they get manic. And they get excited. Oh, we're picking up this hobby today. Oh, tomorrow we're picking up this hobby.
Then they drop it.
And I'm there, and I'm there, and I'm there, and I'm there, and I'm there. And then one day I'm like, baby, we've been in this pandemic for 2 years. I've been supporting you and everything else. From next year onwards, I need to make sure that my cash flow is going into my business. Do you understand what I'm saying? And right now, my cash flow is all going into your business. So get yourself out of these things, like financially start paying down all your debt and everything else, so that by the end of the year, you think, I gave her 6 months. I gave her 6 months to do that. I was like, it was October. Then I said, by March next year, the beginning of the new financial year. By January, she'd booked herself into an Airbnb and she was gone. And immediately after we had that conversation, she called her mother. And her mother had some things to say, had her go outside. How? Why is he saying that? What? Hey, I got some phone. Hey, yes. I say about stinge.
Yeah. Okay, Not. I think we ran out of time. However, We're
out of time.
Eish, bruh.
No ways. You want us to continue this conversation?
No. Wait. No. Wait. I want to ask you a final question. Two final questions.
Okay, cool.
One question is that, do you have any, like, it's just my wish for you and your wife, right? And I just want you maybe on your interviews going forward to speak positive about your wife. You
Have I ever spoken negatively about her?
No, but there's some things that you just don't go around saying, not
Like what?
about. I don't know, not just don't.
I've never spoken negatively about my wife ever.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? If I talk about me being a victim of her actions,
Yeah.
I'm talking about her being me being a victim of her actions.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
cool.
If she's financially abusive, she's financially abusive. You understand? I'm a victim of that financial abuse. You
Cool.
understand what I'm saying?
I wish for you and your wife
Yeah.
to get back together in the process of time, especially when you guys are apart. It's good that you're separated. You can work
it's
on
not
yourself.
good. No,
Okay,
it's not
it's not good, but it's already happened.
No, but the thing is
in
that
this
some people
apartness,
don't work on themselves. That's the
Okay.
thing, is that they separate and then they get into the delusion.
Yeah.
They get into the friends and then they get reinforced.
get-
And the TikTok that they get into, the Instagram that they get into tells women to be single. What I
Yeah.
want for you to do is speak positively about marriage.
Yeah.
Speak positively about being a
Black
good
men,
wife.
yeah.
And also, when you see a woman that's separating from her husband, inquire with her. Ask her questions.
No, that's my job, Nota. It's like, you know
No,
me.
I'm saying don't do what Dineo Ranaka does and try to put words into the mouth and try to make a man an abuser. No one who ever asked my wife, what one good thing can you say about your husband? What one good thing did he do? Everyone was already an enemy of me, was bringing her there to say, let's bring that man down. And that shows me two things. Number one, I'm so great that they have to bring my wife in to bring me down. Like they cannot do it mano a mano, none of them, whether it be black coffee, or you name it,
love
anyone.
black coffee.
No, I'm just saying because he's the one who started it. He's the one who spoke nonsense about me and like tried to affect my business. You know what I
Oh.
mean? So also, I'm also one of the people that want him to go back to his wife and
Yeah.
be there because
Yeah.
I met his son at the
Yeah.
garage. His son was excited to see me because his son, that's the guy on the internet that says my daddy must come back home.
No, he must. You also must.
I'm
divorce-
home.
You just,
I'm home.
you're just waiting for your wife to walk
You
in.
talk to her and
Yeah.
say, listen, any woman that sees her, tell her to get her sense back on. We are wives here. We are the ring gang. Even though I don't believe in rings, I don't buy rings because diamonds are a scam. I understand. Like you guys.
No, it's whatever. It's not even
Yeah.
about the ring.
Yeah, but
Nota.
I know,
It's
but
about
you're
the
married.
commitment.
Yeah.
But I love my ring.
But why couldn't you say, you know what, Nota, after everything I've seen happen to you in the media and the public, I've never once heard you say I'm giving up on my wife. I'd like to commend you as a man for saying that. I'd like you to commend you. You're setting an example for other men.
No, I'm really commending you on that, Nota, because you're not giving me a chance. I'm commending you
Okay,
on
no.
that, right? Because marriage is a journey. Marriage is me loving my husband today and me not loving him tomorrow and loving him again. But we're in the same
Or
house.
not liking him,
Yes,
but you love him. I love him.
Yeah,
I accept,
100%.
I love my wife. I
It's
accept my
even-
wife no matter how she is.
It
You
even
understand?
becomes deeper than love, not. It's like, this is my family. This is
Yes,
my
this
home.
is my family.
Do
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
this is my
imagine
home.
how much it hurts me that the one person I would do anything for, right, would rather try to tell herself that she's happier without me by her side.
Ish, I really hope
Yeah,
Berita
like-
girl, wherever you are, if
understand?
she's happy, we cannot.
That's not her name. Her name is Kukulet.
Kukulet.
That's her mother's name.
Baloi.
You understand? Another dangerous thing, you name yourself after your mother and then your mother can then poison you against your own husband.
Okay. Nota,
Yeah.
just to wrap up this conversation, I think we've spoken about your wife. I really, I don't like marriages breaking. It's
Yeah.
like setting us back. I don't like marriages
Does your mother
breaking.
encourage you in your marriage?
Both my mom and
So
my
that's
dad.
that's my thing, is that all the successful marriages
You must watch
are
an
successful
interview.
because the mother
Yeah.
speaks to her daughter
Yeah.
and says, this is how you show up as a wife.
You must watch my interview with my dad on the same podcast.
Oh, okay,
down there.
cool.
We had
I'll
like
watch
an
it.
open. People were like, yeah, your dad is like, I'm like, this man kept a family. He said on that, show me a man that kept a family for 40 years or whatever.
My
and
dad.
we still, do you
Like that.
understand?
I'll show you that guy.
Yeah, like
I'm
all
almost
those
there. I'm
people.
4 years in, guys. Almost.
Anyway, guys.
You understand?
Yes, you
Don't
must
worry,
watch
the family
that.
will be back together.
Yes,
And
you
then
guys
one
must-
question. What do you think about polygamy?
What I
Do you think
think,
it would be wrong for me to consider taking a second wife? If she's a virgin.
if your even if he's not a virgin, but
No,
if
no,
your
but
wife,
now with her behaving the way she does she have now the chance to now?
no, she needs to say something.
She
For
needs to
me,
say
I don't
no.
have a problem with polygamy.
Yeah.
But the wife need to confirm of the thing. If the wife
Yeah,
is
but
like,
she's stepped out
then
now.
you need to wait.
They need,
Nota.
no, I cannot wait. There needs to be someone who's providing for the house. I still need to provide for the family.
Okay.
The Baloi name is still there. You understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying?
Okay.
Who's cooking for me?
Okay.
Who's cleaning?
I hear you. I hear you.
We'll talk about it in part 2.
We will. We will come again, Nota. We'll speak about it.
Thank you so much.
Black marriages should be like literally. We need to build the black nation, and we can only do it through marriages, through kids,
That's it.
generations to generation.
Generational wealth is built in marriages.
Lastly, what do you think about because you brought it up about the Mike's Kitchen situation? It's
Which
us
one?
closing.
Which MT?
Yeah.
I was walking in. I was on the phone with his people.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are they saying?
No.
What
I'll deal with it. Me and MT will deal with it personally. I'll sort it out.
Yeah.
I'll sort it out. But I'm saying let's not give up on our black men.
No.
Yeah.
No, please. You see, my message is that.
Even MT, he knows he's had his problems with whatever at home. But anytime as a brother, when I could encourage him, I'd always say, never abandon your wife.
No.
Never abandon your family. Never abandon your kids. Never, you know what I mean?
We work through things, Nota.
That's it.
We really work through
That's
things.
it. And I hope that, he can find it in him to take care of the image that his sons see as they grow up, as they grow older.
Yeah.
Because that's the most important thing. You know what I mean? My dad didn't teach me anything by saying.
Yeah.
He taught
By
me
doing.
by how he does things.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to live up to that extent.
That's what my husband
to
always
that,
say.
you know
that
what I mean? Yeah.
You cannot really raise a child when you are outside the child's environment. You cannot say, I'm a dad, I'm sending money. You cannot raise a child like that. You guys need to be in the same.
Your son needs to walk with you in the shopping
drive
center.
with you.
No. And he sees, daddy takes big steps. I'm also taking big steps.
Yeah.
You understand? Your wife needs to be fighting for your son to take off your shoes. Stop playing with your dad's shoes because your son wants to wear daddy's shoes. 100%. He wants to be that person when he grows up. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, Nota will have part 2, hopefully.
Soon.
And this was really a nice conversation.
Thank
we
you so
didn't even
much.
speak about your friend, AKA, but I think people can catch that on Justify. You spoke extensively about that.
Yeah, this was about marriage.
Yeah, this was about marriage and family dynamics. Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, Nota. Thank you for your time thank you to your wife.
Yeah.
Because now we're talking, because you're married to her, you know. I'm talking to you as a husband. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, reach out to her. Maybe talk to her.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to you, Google, to Berita.
I'll send you her name.
Baloyi, yes. People are saying I'm enabling men, I'm enabling cheating. I'm like, guys, you know what, ne? You guys have got a long, long way to go.
No.
If you're still going to listen to each other, tell each other that men are trash. Nah,
Stop listening
men
to
are
TikTok.
not.
It's
Stop
TikTok.
listening to social media. Divorce content is trending like hell. It's trending. Like you really subscribe. Hey, when you listen and you look at your husband, you're like, this. I'm like, now I'm not going anywhere.
Don't do that. Thank you.
Anyway, bye guys. Please subscribe. Bye.